Okay, I want to talk about gender. Ever since my realization of this, I've kind of not stopped thinking about it. Like, I want to tell people about it. It's like, it just felt like something clicked in my brain, and I realized, oh, it's all fake. And so I tried to get all of my thoughts down on paper in this nice not even two page, 1.5 page Google Doc, and it's all neat and nice and in paragraphed format. So I'm just gonna read it. Yeah, yay. Paragraph 1. The addition of gender to an intelligent species' societies such as ours only creates division and unnecessary stress for everyone living in it. People are molded perfectly through the confines of this mystical thing called gender into one of two ideas of what a person should be and do from the very start of their existence. It's almost insane to me that the majority of the world thinks this way / accepts this as if it's not the root of countless issues. Oh, cute, a little baby is born. It's a boy, it's a girl. No, it's a human. You cannot choose what a person wants their life to be like. These days it's becoming more apparent that gender is really just a means of expressing oneself in the form of appearance, speech, and behavior. But in the past, the roles of the two genders that people are most familiar with, men and women, were crafted and molded to be complete opposites of each other, I guess, to balance things out and survive better, if I were talking, a long time ago. Men would have power and go to work, women would submit and raise their children. Men are cool, mean, and dirty, women are clean, emotional, and nice. These types of themes persist in the idea of what a man and woman are today through media and commercials and stuff and products, marketing. But of course there are people who are male who want to stay home and take care of their children, and people who are female who want to be in positions of power. But where do these types of people fit in the polar idea of gender? Oh right, they don't. But they're forced to try and conform to these ideas or they'll be seen as weird and not correct. Thus comes the birth of men repressing their feelings and ending up unhappy with mental illnesses, and women being overly accepting of everything thrown at them and ending up unhappy with mental illnesses. This is a crude oversimplification of the scale of the actual issue here, but for the sake of you and I's sanities, it will have to do. Now, who is to say what a woman should be and what a man should be? I sure am not. I don't even know what a woman and a man are, to be honest, outside of what I've been told, but it's constantly morphing and changing as time goes on. We know this. What is the real need for gender? Why not just use one set of pronouns across the board instead of two different ones that imply different things? I'd say that I understand the survival aspect if we were in the caveman stages of our evolution, but this is the 21st century. We're at the top of the food chain, pretty much. Not biologically, but in terms of how we're intelligent and stuff. And most of us have never been attacked by a wild animal or slept outside without a tent before, so it doesn't matter for that reason. If the need to determine biological sex is your concern, having no gender wouldn't really change the existence of your reproductive organs. Hell, if gender wasn't a thing, you could just tell someone casually, oh, I'm male, I'm female, and be done with it. With the added bonus of not having the fear of being perceived a certain way, of course. Gender dysphoria wouldn't exist anymore, as well, since there's no gender in the first place. Of course, some people who are uncomfortable with their body's reproductive organs, they would still feel bad about them and want to get SRS surgery, and they could, if they want to, and it would just be like a plastic surgery thing. But they wouldn't have to socially transition, which is the hardest part. The core reason as to why it's so difficult to come out as a trans person is that everyone has a pre-existing image and idea of you based on what gender was assigned to you at birth. Being outside of the norm is frowned upon. It's safer to keep your feelings in while living in a world like this. Without gender, however, there's no reason to feel like you have to hide your true self, since there's nothing to base what you're supposed to act like and look like on. Erasing gender completely seems like such a fix-all solution for so many issues, but alas, this will not be happening anytime soon, obviously. The two-gender mindset is too deeply ingrained in our society, languages, and everything to be able to be erased and not cause an uncomfortable paradigm shift mixed with violence. And I don't really think that we'd be able to change it to that, since everyone in power is like extremely old and are not accepting of new ideas as much as the young people are. Now, realistically, in a world where everyone was their own person, not separated into tribes of man and woman, there would still be discrimination based upon other things, namely race, sexuality, and looks, oh my god, etc. But if we were playing God here, erasing the existence of pre-existing perceptions based upon literally just reproductive organs that you have when you're born, that would be the first thing I would do. It would be a pretty harmless change overall. Gender is a thing that us humans made up and are being hit with the consequences of on a daily basis. I say reject the traditional idea of gender. Be who you feel you want to be, while to the best of your ability, not thinking about what other people might say, since there's no reason to conform if you don't want to. Everyone is their own person, and one person's expression will always be slightly different from the next. Instead of ostracizing, we should embrace it. Celebrate the people that are able to go against the grain and not care. They demonstrate the ability of the human race to withstand pressure and adapt. I, for one, am someone who doesn't really align with either gender. I use he/they pronouns because they feel more comfortable to me than she/her, since the pre-existing implications of using she/her pronouns make me uncomfortable more than not. But really, you don't often use someone's pronouns while talking to them, right? So it doesn't affect me much in the long run. And I've realized that I don't care for what people who can't understand my idea of gender have to say about that. I am who I am, and what you call me doesn't change my identity. All that I ask is that you don't place me within a box with a group of people you think are similar to me, because it just doesn't work. It's too restrictive. You can't predict me, be afraid. Just kidding. But really, pre-existing ideas are the enemy to all of mankind. Stereotypes, as it were. The survival instinct that is grouping a bunch of people under one label and placing ideas onto that label is really something that we don't need to use to the extent that we do right now anymore. Of course, there are still terrible people out there that do horrible, unspeakable things, but for your average run-of-the-mill person, it just doesn't make sense. Seeing as we're such a well-off species, we can, live and not be afraid of death all the time, you know? Like animals. Since we have evolved to, move past all of that. It's just strange to me. It doesn't make sense. Anyway, goodbye. Here's the art if you care about that. I hate you all.